Good evening, everyone. I'm Kendall Tenney.
And I'm Ricky Cheese, and welcome to our special coverage of the implosion of the Hacienda Hotel. It's due to be imploded at 9 o'clock tonight, all part of a booming New Year's Eve in Las Vegas, complete with fireworks and a laser show. Now, we have team coverage of the implosion from the ground, from the air, and from our special camera positions. We begin our coverage with Rick Fuentes, who is live with our SpaceLink 3 satellite truck, and he's got a great vantage point right at ground zero. Rick.
Yes, we do, Ricky, and Happy New Year to you. We are right across from the Hacienda, which is slated to come down in about 10 minutes or so. We're just approaching H hour. Now, we've had a few changes to the plan since we last talked to you. Remember, we told you that people would not be allowed to be this close to the Hacienda when it came down. Well, unfortunately, plans have changed because so many people have come out here to watch it come down. As a matter of fact, we speak with Nevada Highway Patrol. They say they're estimating 400,000 people are on the Las Vegas Strip waiting to see the Hacienda come down. As a matter of fact, they've had to expand street closings to all the way to Sunset on the Las Vegas Strip and all the way up to Desert Inn. Now, if you can just take a look, we can have photographer Dawn just pan over. You can just see what sort of crowds we have out here. Absolutely a festive crowd as we take a look at everyone who's out here to watch the Hacienda. The part of the Strip just in front of the Luxor where it has been cordoned off, where people can at best only hope to get a side view of the Hacienda. Oh my gosh, there we go. The fireworks have already begun. We're seeing fireworks from the Grucci family. The famous family that did the Statue of Liberty. Ricky and Kendall, I hope you're seeing this. This was truly amazing.
Watching the fireworks here. These will go on for about 4 minutes from what we understand before the actual implosion takes place.
And this implosion is timed to coincide with the actual stroke of midnight on the East Coast. So we are, of course, seeing it early, but for the East Coast folks, this is going to be their New Year's way of celebrating with us here in Las Vegas. Again, as I told you, the internationally famous Grucci family arranged these fireworks, and the also internationally famous Loazo family of Controlled Demolition Incorporated that brought down the dunes, the sands, and so many other places here in Las Vegas and around the world are the company, the folks who are putting together this implosion that will bring down the Hacienda tonight.
7,000 structures worldwide that they've brought down. And right here we're seeing 40 years of history come down. Built in 1956, although there is one tower that was constructed in 1990, which is, of course, more sophisticated and a little more difficult to bring down, required a few more explosives than, say, the tower built 40 years ago.
Well, this is amazing. We've seen so many Las Vegas landmarks come tumbling down to make room for the new, the old going out, sort of a great New Year's theme, making room for the new year. 1997 and into 98, we'll see a brand new mega resort on this site with a South Island Seas theme. It's going to be a 4,000 room resort. Analysts estimate construction costs at $1 billion, but Circus Properties that owns this site isn't talking yet about the budget, but you can bet it's going to be spectacular as we see these fireworks light up the skies and signal the end of an era on the Las Vegas Strip.
And the scuttlebutt is that the new resort will run in the neighborhood of $1 billion, which of course is nothing new because with the Sands implosion, that's going to be replaced by a $1+ billion place that's a Venetian-themed 6,000 suite resort. All sorts of activity and growth taking place on the Strip, and we're witnessing part of it right here.
And here in the background, we hear the music and the crowds. It's a Mission Impossible theme. But as we all know, as we come to this huge climax, nothing is impossible here in Las Vegas, this Disneyland for adults.
Yeah, and this picture we're looking at is from the top of the Tropicana, so it gives us a really good vantage point. We're going to have 12 other cameras from what I understand, including the implosion cam, crash cam, if you will.
Now, we might be able to go back to Rick Fuentes. Here it is. It's coming down. The implosion has begun of the Hacienda.
Last about 60 seconds before the implosion takes place.
Look for a fireball to begin in the middle of the casino, coming to the top, and then the roof shall cave in, and the whole structure will come tumbling down.
There's the crash cam that survived the Sands implosion. We'll see if it survives the Hacienda implosion in just a few moments. This is an implosion that could take place as quickly as 10 seconds, but for the purposes of dramatics, it's going to be drawn out a little bit here.
And keep in mind, locals, this is something that people are seeing all over the world, but it's timed to coincide with the stroke of midnight on the East Coast and the celebration of New Year's Eve. Here we go.
Ricky Kendall, this is Rick Fuentes. We've just gone dark. I think here comes the big boom. Kendall, what an incredible sight. Everyone out here is giving the Hacienda a standing ovation as you see it come down upon itself. It's almost hard to see from this point with so much dust. The old hotel comes down for the last time.
Once again, we're looking at our site from above the Tropicana, our camera, to get a really great bird's eye view of the final moments of the Hacienda. That was like watching a music video. It was so well choreographed.
Unbelievable. And the pyrotechnics that were spread out inside the hotel, lighting up every window, the sonic booms that went off, just powerful. Even from this vantage point, you can only imagine what it was like watching it in person.
Rick, what's going on down there? We can see the clouds of dust. As Kendall said, the clouds at the Sands implosion weren't as bad as it seems to be where you are right now.
As you can see, a lot of dust down here in front of the Hacienda implosion. We can actually say that we have a lot of experience doing this in the past 3 years, as this is the fourth imploded resort to come down. Right now, I can tell you, perhaps you can see this picture better than I can. We can see absolutely nothing here, as we are basically at ground zero as the fireworks continue to go up on the old Hacienda. Literally pieces of the old hotel just flying towards us, obscuring all view. I can tell you from our vantage point just right above the street, it looks like it's basically snowing on the Las Vegas Strip as it is covered in a thick white ash. It almost looks like snow, I have to tell you.
Rick, we're going to go now to Jennifer Ramirez, who is live in Sky 3. Jen, you're flying above it all. What is it like up there?
Oh, Ricky, it is truly awesome. The fireworks show is still going on. Maybe we can get a shot of that for you. You can see the fireworks still moving, and I'm told that this is actually going to last a few more minutes. But what was truly phenomenal during the implosion was on the ground. It looked like all kinds of stars going off, and all it was flash cubes from the I-15 all the way down here to Tropicana, and just a flood of people. Now, Tropicana is closed all the way down south to Russell, or excuse me, that's Sunset. But that didn't stop the ground or the foot traffic from coming in. They were down there all the way at Hacienda Avenue, practically at ground zero, and it is truly a sight. Right now, I'm sure they have an eye and a mouth full of dust, but from up above, truly an awesome sight. You can see hundreds of thousands of New Year's Eve partygoers ringing in the new year a few hours early, but on the East Coast, they got certainly an exciting angle of the implosion and all of the phenomenal fireworks. And we're going to toss it back to you and keep an eye on all the excitement from up above.
And what's incredible, sitting in this studio so far away from the Hacienda, you can actually hear the fireworks going off even now.
Here, way down the Las Vegas Strip, we can hear all the noise outside. It is amazing. Let's go back to our cameras and give you another look at what's left of the dunes. Rick, what is it?
I'm sorry, guys. I can't hear a word you're saying. It is just so loud right now on the Las Vegas Strip. Right now, we're in the middle of a dust storm as the dust of what's left over the Hacienda, and basically, this is it, folks, comes blowing out towards us. Looks like everybody is clearing out. Perhaps it's just a little louder, a little dustier than a lot of people imagine. As you can see, I've got goggles on, which we were warned that we ought to be wearing, as well as earplugs. Ponchos were handed out earlier to protect everyone from the dust and debris that could be flying down. And it looks like the folks who organized this event were dead on target. They planned on the dust, they planned on the noise, and they planned on all the excitement. This is definitely an exciting scene, guys. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year, Rick. If we could, let's go back and hopefully our control room can show us that video one more time, the actual final moments of the Hacienda. This is our blast cam, which is, Kendall told you, survived the sands. Will it survive the Hacienda?
Yeah, we won't know, I guess, until tomorrow when we pull it out of the dust as we did with the sands implosion. But this gives you a real good idea of the force of the implosion as it comes down right now.
Once again, this thing, Controlled Demolition Incorporated, the Loazo family, what they do is they weaken the structural supports of a building. It's not like just putting in a bunch of explosives. This is very detailed work, a very thorough knowledge of the architecture of the building so that it comes down just closing in upon itself. And when you talk about the dust, it looks like a lot of dust, and it is, but it only lasts for seconds. And when you stop to consider how big this resort is, 11 stories, 900 rooms, that's a lot of rubble coming down, and the dust is really dissipating as we speak.
And as you mentioned, the Loazo family has said that their main tool is gravity and secondarily explosives because they're all placed strategically throughout the hotel, and you see how well it works. It's science in motion.
Hopefully we can take a look at a video that showed as the building started, the lights, that was the most beautiful part, the explosives going up, these big ribbons of explosives as the building started, very quickly coming down floor by floor by floor.
Yeah, the Loazo family called it a 600-foot canvas in this case, and it really was a piece of art in this case. I mean, with the sands implosion, it wasn't really made for the crowd.
Right.
The dunes was, but this is the first one since the dunes that was actually set up and designed for a big audience, and as you mentioned, nationwide. John Bonds is actually at a party where folks have been celebrating this implosion. John, what do you have for us?
You probably can't hear us with all of the noise that's going on where he is as well. Now keep in mind that we were expecting, coming into Las Vegas for this New Year's Eve anyway, about 200,000 people. You're talking the number of people who come in for Comdex, which is our largest convention. Here again, we've got the video for you as of the last moments. You can see the fireworks leading up to the implosion itself, the Grucci family, internationally known for their pyrotechnics. About 1,000 pyrotechnic devices going off inside this resort. Just a beautiful, beautiful show that was seen all across the United States and will definitely be seen all around the world.
And again, this is the camera that was up on top of the Tropicana.
Right.
And you mentioned the crowd coming into town, some 200,000 folks. And the larger estimates of the number of people on the Strip were in the neighborhood of 500,000.
Exactly.
That's as many people that are on Times Square tonight.
Right now. So we are becoming the Times Square. We are actually the Times Square of the West Coast
yeah.
when it comes to New Year's Eve. And all of those people gathered down at that end of the Las Vegas Strip are now making their way down to the other resorts. There are quite a few things planned all up and down the Las Vegas Strip for New Year's. So we started the new year with the Hacienda, but of course we're going to have much more to show you of the parties going all up and down the Strip and downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street coming up on Nightside at 11 o'clock.
And right now we're going to check in with Rick Fuentes, who last time we saw him was in the middle of a dust storm. It looks like it's already clearing up a bit, Rick.
It's clearing up a little bit. We're getting a little bit lucky that it's not very windy, so it's not blowing very far. However, that's also a disadvantage because it's keeping all the dust right here. Take a look for yourself. It looks like it's actually wintertime, really wintertime in Las Vegas. Everyone just a little surprised by how much dust there is. We had a Metro car in the middle of the street here in the middle of Las Vegas Strip with its lights on, and really all you could see was dust coming from the front of its headlights. But as you can see, the 400,000 people who came out here to see the Hacienda come down, quickly clearing out, of course, only after they sang Auld Lang Syne. Hey, it's still New Year's, folks. But 400,000 people in the road, they are now clearing out. The Las Vegas Strip has been shut down basically from Sunset all the way to Desert Inn. Now these people are going to look for some place to go. And, you know, probably why so many people came out, of course, because it's New Year's. But Ricky and Kendall, as you were talking about, this place does have a place in a lot of people's hearts. This was one of the first hotel resorts that was on the south end of the Strip when this was the original Los Angeles highway. It was one of the first hotels to cater to the motoring tourists, the people who drove into town for a good time. And for the longest time, it had no neighbors on the south end of the Strip, of course, until the Tropicana was built. And then, of course, not until the 1990s when the Excalibur and Luxor came into being. But right now, a lot of people celebrating the end of the Hacienda, taking with them their memories. And I think they're taking with them a lot of dust also, because believe me, it is extremely dusty out here. Back to you.
We can see all of the dust, Rick, all over your jacket.
It's caking
there.
on his shoulders right there.
We're going to try
it's
now
not dandruff.
That's what he says. Thanks a lot, Rick. Stay tuned. Stay by. We're going to go right now to John Bonds, who hopefully is at that party and can hear us now.
My daddy,
Where do you are?
my mom.
Like this.
Huh?
John, can you hear us?
Listen to that because I can't hear.
You gotta imagine there's so much noise everywhere
We see
along
all
the
the
Strip
people.
tonight.
Well, as Rick mentioned, the Hacienda really has a unique place in Las Vegas history. For those of us who went to UNLV, we know about the Judy Bailey Theater. Well, she was a real person. Doc and Judy Bailey actually owned the Hacienda. And like so many people who had such incredible foresight, they were able to see the future and know that one day that end of the Las Vegas Strip would be as valuable as every other part of the Strip that already had hotels. And now Circus Enterprises, which owns that land, owns a mile of the Las Vegas Strip when you take into account the Luxor and the Excalibur. Once again, let's take a look at the implosion itself. The pyrotechnics going on at the top of the building. In a few seconds, you're going to see a darkening of the screen, some more fireworks, and then the incredibly well choreographed destruction of this piece of Las Vegas history.
And again, this is the camera. We won't know its destiny until tomorrow, but it recorded the final moments of the Hacienda. And you're talking about Doc and Julie Bailey as we watch this come down and the foresight they had. A lot of people scoffed when they built in 1956 the Hacienda right there in the middle of nowhere at the time. It was one of the first buildings there.
How many families in Las Vegas are doing very well because they built in the middle of nowhere? We can talk about the Greenspun family. We can go on and on. The Becker family, long-standing, very prestigious Las Vegas, Southern Nevada families. Here she goes, coming down in a pile of rubble, the Hacienda. 40 years of Las Vegas history.
And now all that remains is the dust, and the cleanup will begin shortly after, and the construction of the new mega resort that is to follow.
Hopefully we can go back to Jennifer Ramirez, who is high above the scene in Sky 3. No, she's probably landed by now. We could try once again for John Bonds, who's at the party, but he's probably having so much fun, that's not going to happen. We thank you for joining us tonight for the implosion of, our latest implosion on the Las Vegas Strip, the end of the Hacienda, making room for a brand new mega resort, South Island themed resort owned by Circus Enterprises.
The latest in a string of implosions. Of course, we're going to have the highlights tonight at 11. In the meantime, we're going to join Fraser again. Happy New Year.